What is up, YouTube? Back again with another video. And today's video is going to be kind of a quick one because I do want to hop on stream and start grinding to Max Prestige, which will be hitting Max Prestige here in 15 levels, which is pretty crazy. But I wanted to talk about something that just got announced that I think could be huge for the future of Call of Duty going forward. And so let's kind of get into it. And first off, I want to clarify these are all just rumors from someone who says they have inside sources at Activision and Microsoft. So please keep these things with a grain of salt. But these rumors are usually pretty accurate. We saw the same thing with releases for the game and stuff about the game before release. We saw stuff like this happen with other things like the Call of Duty Microsoft acquisition. So keep these things with a grain of salt, but there's a high chance these are probably real. So yeah, let's talk about it. And without further ado, I'm going to read you what the post is, and we're going to talk about what this could mean going in. So, this guy named Hope, it's called the Ghost of Hope on Twitter, said this. What I am being told about the future of Call of Duty, he says, Microsoft has set up a new committee under Activision for Call of Duty that will control features and systems at the franchise level, and will let the studios make suggestions. So whether something like Omni Movement, which is new to the franchise, survives past this year, will now not be decided by Infinity Ward or Treyarch or Sledgehammer, but now will be decided by the committee. Studios are being told not to innovate in areas like UI, prestige, and certain gameplay features, etc., but rather to focus on innovating maps, modes, storytelling, as that is where they want the creativity to come from. Now, I think, in my personal opinion, this is huge, and this is a huge W, and this is why. Committees are inherently positive when they're created, okay? A lot of things that you do during your life, be it going to amusement parks or to a parade or to a festival or even sometimes your work or where you live, there's usually a committee behind those things. See, committees are inherently positive. Now, I know there is some negatives to having committees, especially if the committee is ran by people who are out of touch with what that committee is there for. But inherently, the committees are a positive thing. So I have a lot of high hopes going forward that these will be this will be a positive, just simply for the pure fact is it'll be something fresh and new to the Call of Duty scene. And this kind of supports my hypothesis that I had that or not hypothesis, I should say my statement that I have made in the past, where the devs control what happens in the game more than people let on. I know a lot of the people that I talk to in my own chat groups are blind and ignorant and think that Activision controls literally every finite detail within the game. And I am happy to announce that this is most likely, according to this, is not true. Okay, Activision does control quite a lot of what happens behind the scenes, but these developers, they get to decide things like the Omni Movement, they get to decide the things that, like what guns get buffed, get nerfed, etc., the maps, modes, gameplay, story, campaign, all that type of stuff. So I think it's important to acknowledge that, and so like with this year with Black Ops 6, I've been very vocal about how much I do not like the multiplayer in this game. I think it is a disaster of an experience, and anyone who likes it is probably someone who is just liking it because it's a Treyarch game. Had this game released in an Infinity Ward cycle or in a Sledgehammer cycle, this game would have been a flop. And I kind of feel like that's kind of how it is because of Treyarch. Treyarch are some of the worst developers in the Call of Duty genre. I know I'm going to offend some people when I say that, but, facts don't care about your feelings. Sledgehammer and Infinity Ward have done a fantastic job in the last decade, especially since Black Ops 3. Treyarch and Infinity Ward have... Sledgehammer and Infinity Ward have proven very time and time again that they are the better company, while Treyarch has kind of took the back burner with Black Ops 4 and Black Ops Cold War and now Black Ops 6. They have again and again proven that they're out of touch with what the COD community wants. And I think having a committee there to say, stop, don't do anything, let us handle it, you just focus on the things that you need to be focusing on as a game developer, okay? I think that is a very tactical decision by Microsoft, as well as a very smart decision by Microsoft. See, this is why I had been very for Microsoft buying Call of Duty. I was even for for Sony buying Call of Duty. I think either one of the companies would have done a fantastic job because Activision and the developing teams were out of touch with what made their games popular. And now, doubt it, I think a large part of this as well is a lot of the devs that are at Treyarch, Infinity Ward, Sledgehammer, Raven, etc., High Moon, a lot of these guys are either have been here for 20 plus years since the beginning, or are brand new and they have only been here for the last 5 or so years. And so that allows some inconsistencies in what the COD community wants, because you can tell from 2019 to now, and from 2019 back to 2004, how much the game has changed, especially now in the modern age of Call of Duty with the Warzone era, and we're going to get into that in a second. I think this is going to be a net positive on the grand scheme of things, as long as it's done correctly. And we're going to get into some of the worries that I do have with the committee. So don't worry, this is not just me riding the committee's dick. But I think inherently it's a good thing. I think Omni Movement's great, and I'm glad that Omni Movement will now have the ability to be used across the studios because of this committee. See, that's a common problem with Call of Duty right now, is a lot of the things that they do are studio-based things. So, like, this, just because we got Prestiges and Omni Movement and no weapon level requirement for camos this year with this Call of Duty, does not mean that Infinity Ward will do that the next COD they have, or Sledgehammer will do that the next COD, because it's not their studio, and it's not their thing, so they could have something different. But now this committee could say, no, we liked how people are enjoying the prestige system, and I really hope that this is the case, and they decide, well, we want to keep this going forward, and so we're going to do prestiging for now on instead of seasonal levels. Same for like the weapon camos, as I said, I know I said something about progression or something, so maybe we'll see that the weapon camos are no longer locked behind weapon levels in the future going forward as well. So these are all types of things that I'm really excited for going forward, because these are all net positives. But let's get into some of the negatives that I have, the concerns that I have, because I think it's important to understand both sides. And so, obviously, one of the big things is if you're splitting up this committee and having them focus on all the titles, it is important to realize that they could also be influenced by certain development teams more than others. And so Treyarch is probably the almost overloved communities of the development teams. So it is more likely that Treyarch will have more pull and push on whether or not things are added to the committee's docket of things to approve or disapprove. And so I could see Treyarch getting favoritism as well, just because they're the more popular company, even though Treyarch really doesn't do all that much for the COD community. It's mostly Infinity Ward that does most of the heavy lifting for the COD community. Infinity Ward has released the most titles as well. And I think that's an interesting thing going forward. We're going to see is how they're going to handle this and how they're going to make sure it's fair and balanced for everybody else. As well as, obviously, these community members might get overstimulated within the community and be more hyper-focused on one or two topics. So maybe one of the community members will be really a huge fan of the seasonal levels, and maybe you can become overstimulated and maybe force other members to fall in line with them. Kind of like how the real U.S. government works, or any other statewide government works, how you have people who have different ideologies, but if you can get enough people to follow your ideology, even a little bit, to back you in like, say, for Congress or Senate or whatever it is, a lot of times those powerful people can get what they want by simply doing favors or persuading people to follow their beliefs. So that is a big concern of mine for this, is to make sure that somehow Microsoft can make sure this is a fair and balanced system. But I think in the long term, if it's done correctly, it could be a very, very good net positive. Now this does basically prove that all the problems that we see in Call of Duty are not necessarily Activision's fault, and I think it's a thing that we've had to deal with as a community, is we have to stop blaming Activision for all of our problems, right? Like, it's the same way as in real life. You can't blame everyone else for your problems. Sometimes you have to take a self-look and a self-perspective, because at the end of the day, Activision are the owners of Call of Duty, or they were the owners of Call of Duty, and all their job was to do was say, we would like this type of game, get it for us, and we will pay your bills up until that point, and then obviously the games are released, and you guys get more money for the release. And I think because of that, we like to just assume, because they're the head honchos, that they make all the decisions, when in reality, Activision's not just focused on Call of Duty. Activision has a bunch of different communities under their belt. They used to have Destiny under their belt, but they don't have that no more. But it's important to realize that they have other games. Activision's not Call of Duty. Call of Duty is Call of Duty. Activision is just the people who sponsor the game, who pay the paychecks, who sign the checks, who say yes or no to certain things. But the COD devs, the Call of Duty devs, like Infinity Ward, Sledgehammer, Treyarch, Raven, High Moon, etc., all the other small devs that are underneath them, all make the decisions, right? And I think a lot of the problems in Call of Duty, especially with Black Ops 6, was because the devs obviously did not use the time they had very well. You had 4 years, Treyarch. 4 years, your game is barely running. Okay, the crashes are insane, hit detection's awful, map design's awful, maps are terrible. The level system is inconsistent. Like some days I'm leveling up fast, other days I'm not, even though I'm using double XP tokens. It took you how many days and weeks to get the double XP tokens in the game and working? Your item store, your item shop is so fucking expensive. I mean, half these bundles are 2,400 COD points, which is just insane in my opinion. Like there should be some cheaper ones in here with the same quality content, because so otherwise you're just running a fucking punk ass store. I don't know how else to explain it. It's a punk ass store. The event is glitchy as all hell. Every time I open the event, I gotta go through a fucking 35-minute animation just to get in. Which it shouldn't do that because I already was in it. But if you load up after every match, it does an animation. The battle pass is bland. It's good, but it's bland in terms of just the excitement. Blueprints don't work. You deleted all of the zombies intel from everybody's accounts when you updated the game. As you guys can see here, all my intel's gone. Same with my medals. All my medals are also gone. If we go here, all my medals are gone, which is annoying because some of these I worked really, really hard to get, especially like the smoke grenade ones. That was super disappointing. The save files, everyone's save files were deleted after the update. Like, I could go on and on and on and on and on about all the problems. And I think we, again, forget, because it's Treyarch, and because we refuse, as a community, to stand up to them, because we think that they deserve our respect, or that we owe them our honest, our love and respect, is crazy to me. Because Treyarch have been again and again and again and again the company who's made poor decisions after one after another, right? I mean, they were the same company that decided that for the first time in COD history, they were not going to do a campaign in their game in Black Ops 4. They were the first company to introduce a battle royale, and sure, Blackout was cool, but it now sparks something with Warzone that has now ruined the franchise, because we have Warzone, and Warzone is a fucking a cancer within the COD franchise. And it sucked all the content and all the free will and all the fun out of Call of Duty, because everything has to be fine for Warzone, but everything else breaks so that the thing in Warzone can be fine. And I think this is why a committee is necessary. Something, an outside force to say, no, the community likes this. The community was designed this was designed for the community, so this needs to be the focus. Warzone needs to be put on the back burner, okay? Get rid of it. It's had enough time to shine. Let's focus on the multiplayer experience. Let's focus on the story. Let's focus on the zombie. The 3 pillars of Call of Duty. Those are the first 3 pillars, right? When those first few CODs came out, what did they all have? A story and a multiplayer, and then Treyarch had their zombies, right? That was the pillars. And so that needs to be the focus, because multiplayer is in shambles. Zombies is okay, but it could have some improvements be made. The story was half-assed. It was like 4.5 hours long and was mid at best. So this is the thing that I constantly preach about. I know I sound like a broken record, but the COD community needs to fucking wake up, bro. Wake up. Wake up. It is not hard to see the issues that Treyarch has caused. It's not hard. Treyarch had the longest development cycle in the franchise history. 4 fucking years. 4 fucking years. And this game was built, it feels like it was built in like 12 months. If that. So, and we look back at other Call of Duties, even look back at Treyarch's past Call of Duties, like look at Black Ops 3 and Black Ops 2 and Black Ops 1, all fantastic titles that were made with 90% of the time less than they had with this game. And they were better built, and they weren't buggy, they weren't glitchy, they were good, they had good storylines, they had good zombies. I mean, Black Ops 3 Zombies is one of the best zombies experiences there is in the market. Like this is the type of shit that I'm talking about. Like, we have to take a step back, stop letting your nostalgia blind you from the problems. And I think that is where a committee being placed would be a positive thing, because they're not going to be blinded by nostalgia. They're going to look at the numbers, they're going to look at the stats, and they're going to be like, well, this is what the community has loved in the past, they love now. We've seen how much the love and support they got with the prestige system in this game. So this is what needs to happen in COD. We need to stop focusing on nostalgia and start focusing on what actually is Call of Duty all about. And Call of Duty's always been about a multiplayer first-person shooter experience. It's an arcade style, right? Why is quickscoping so hard in Call of Duty these days? It shouldn't be. Call of Duty was designed with quickscoping, right? That was the whole point. It was it's an arcade shooter. It's supposed to be fun and you're supposed to do cool stuff. We can't even play the multiplayer experience for us good players. We can't even play the multiplayer experience because we're getting punished by SBMM. The amount of people that I have had talks with on Twitter and on YouTube and on Facebook that are just struggling to have fun on this game because of skill-based matchmaking and the hit detection-based matchmaking and the EOMM is insane, man. Because this is a problem that we're all dealing with, and we all need to band together and stand up to the problems at hand, right? And I think having a committee there will be that perfect opportunity for us to stand up for what we believe in. At the end of the day, that's all I want from the COD community. I want us to band together and realize that we're being fucking played like fools by Treyarch. Treyarch are playing us like fools. If you don't like being played, if your girlfriend's ever cheated on you or used you, that's what Treyarch's doing to us right now. They're using us. They're playing with us because they know that you will support the game, even though they make very poor decisions, right? And I know that I am also somewhat of a hypocrite because I'm playing the game. But the difference is at least I'm willing to announce the issues. And when I play this game, I'm not blinded by the fact that Treyarch has fucked us over many times. Had Modern Warfare 3 had more content to grind, I probably would have stayed on that game longer. But unfortunately, I completed everything there was to complete on that game, other than the Grand Mastery. But this game has had some moments that are fun. Like, I'm loving the Master Prestige grind. I'm loving the Zombies grind. But it is so difficult to want to hop on and grind for Abyss on Warzone, or to grind for Dark Matter on multiplayer, because the game is just awful. And now it's starting to leak into Zombies. Zombies is now having hit detection issues. So why is this such a fucking problem, Treyarch? This is not your first title, Treyarch. You are a AAA title who's had a decades of experience under your belt. Why can't you guys make a game that works? Modern Warfare 3 and 2 were not perfect to many people, but Modern Warfare 2 is 3,000 times the fucking game this game is, and it's actually astonishing to me how many people do not understand that. Modern Warfare 2 launched with good movement, more realistically Call of Duty-based movement. That was what old school Call of Duty movement was. Okay, Black Ops 2 did not have side canceling. It had slow movement. Remember that. Modern Warfare 2 had a good camera system that worked and was unlockable. Had good calling card challenges, had a good event-based system like Modern Warfare 3 and 2 did. It had amazing hit detection in Modern Warfare 2. Modern Warfare 2 had some of the best hit detection we've had since World War II. And this is the type of shit that I've been talking about, man. And it bothers me because I sit here every day and I play this game every single day. And I'm within the community all day, talking to people, watching videos on the game. And the amount of people that are blind or ignorant is astonishing. Like, the amount of hate Infinite Warfare gets, or Advanced Warfare gets, or Ghost, or Black Ops 3, or Modern Warfare 2 2022 is astonishing, because those are the games that made this franchise better, right? The original CODs, like Black Ops 1, 2, World at War, COD 4, Modern Warfare 2 and 3, they were amazing in their own rights, but they weren't masterpieces. But they were the foundations of what this franchise was built on. And then the games that came afterwards, from 2016 all the way up to 2018, were the building blocks that were built on top of the foundation that really stepped up the game. And then with the modern age, we've kind of just lost that. It's like the modern age is like a thrown together roof. It's not well made, has holes, it's not super good. It was made by a guy who's never picked up a tool in his life. That is how I feel the COD community is right now. We're just thrown together. We all have different ideologies, but we all are ignorant to the fact that we're being played in the long term. We're being played, right? Every time you get hyped for Warzone, you're just taking the bait. Every single time. Because they know that you'll spend the money on a Warzone. They know you'll spend the time on Warzone. And even when you complain about Warzone, you are still playing it, right? Like, for me, I haven't touched Warzone in forever, right? I'll hop on maybe once or twice here or there. Black Ops 6, I haven't touched it at all yet. Modern Warfare 3, I touched Warzone only when there was events, so I played that Warzone a little more than I would have, say, like in COD 4, not COD 4, Modern Warfare 2019, sorry. But I've always been pretty anti-Warzone. Everyone knows this about me. I've always been pretty anti-Warzone, and it's not because I don't want to see Warzone be successful, because that's not what I'm trying to get at. My problem with Warzone is the consistent effects it has on everything else within the community, right? Like Call of Duty. When was the last time you had fun on Call of Duty? Let me guess. Before Warzone. Most people will say before Warzone. Especially my multiplayer people. My multiplayer guys are gonna say, well, Call of Duty kind of fell off after Warzone. Well, that's because Warzone has had a negative effect on the community, right? Since Warzone came out, there has been a consistent lack of effort being put into Modern Warfare, the multiplayer, if I can English, and the zombies and the DMZ and the survival modes and all that, right, that we've had in the past. So, yeah, I know this video is kind of long already. We're at like 20 minutes, so I'm gonna let you guys go. I need to start the stream up, so I'll be live streaming Hidden Master Sheets on stream today. Hopefully, as long as everything goes as well. Um, Overall, I think the committee is a great idea, and I hope that it's successful. I have my concerns, but um, nothing can go nearly as bad as what Treyarch did with with Black Ops 6 in the multiplayer experience, because 4 years development and your multiplayer is so unbearable that I literally have barely a day logged in. Is wild to me. But with that being said, I love you guys. You're one of a kind. Yeah, Treyarch and Infinity Ward and Sledgehammer are going to be having a committee soon, hopefully. So we'll have to see how that goes. I'll keep you guys posted if more information releases. This was just announced yesterday. I was basically on my way to falling asleep, and then I looked at my phone the last time for the night and saw it. So I knew I had to make a video this morning for you guys when I woke up. It's going to be insane to see how things go. I think Microsoft is doing some great things, and I have a lot of faith in Microsoft because they are a pretty big company. I'm a PlayStation fanboy all through and through. Have been my entire life, but I also am not ignorant to the fact that Microsoft and Xbox are very, very, very good companies, and they have a lot of power and push and money and resources, and so Call of Duty should inherently be more beneficial in those hands than, say, Activision, especially with Activision the last couple of years being not so great of a company. And again, this video is not just to say stop hating Activision. I think Activision deserves a lot of the hate they get. But I think it's important to stop babying these fucking developers because they develop the games. Because there will always be COD developers, okay? No matter what, there will always be a COD developer. There is hundreds of thousands of developers out there in different franchises that would die at the chance to make a Call of Duty game. So I think it's important that we say you are not special because you make Call of Duty, because you're special because of Call of Duty, right? That's the only reason you are special as a developer, is because you get the privilege of making the game for us to experience, right? And it's important to remind them that just because they develop these games doesn't mean they're always necessarily right. Just like the game players, like the players like me, aren't always necessarily right about the direction of the game. And that's okay, because that is how we learn and we progress as a community as well as a gaming franchise. The reason Call of Duty's been around for so long is because the devs used to listen to the COD fan base back in the day, right? You know, and how here we are, and they aren't listening, and we are still okay with that. And I think it's kind of a wild idea. So, but that's just my take on it. I'd love to hear from you guys down below. How do you guys feel about the committee? Do you think it's a cool thing? Are you worried about the committee? I would love to see some different ideas. Twitter seemed kind of torn over it. There's a lot of people that liked it, a lot of people that didn't. And everyone had some valid arguments to be made for both sides of the argument. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys later in the next episode video. I think I might do a my book video tomorrow, so if you guys are excited for that, let me know. As well as if you guys want to come to stream, by the time this is uploaded, I should be live. So make sure to stop by the stream. And with that being said, I love you guys, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.